Hi, welcome back. Slightly different environment to the shed. This week I've made this. Now this is going to be over a three-parter series. It did take quite a long time. A friend did ask me recently how long does it normally take from start to finish of a product. Now this all depends on what you're going to be making. This here took roughly about 6 days in total. Now that's me after work, on days off, and just a few hours on the weekend. He asked me this because not a lot of YouTubers actually put on their videos how long it normally does take to make whatever they're making. So I felt it'd be quite nice to share with you how long that this project took. As well, I don't want to dishearten anybody getting into woodworking, because you watch these YouTube videos and you see what they're making and you go, wow, that's amazing, I want to make one myself. But you may get slightly disheartened if it doesn't take as long as the sort of 15 minutes of the video, or however long the video is. So I do hope you enjoy this series. It was a lot of fun building and I learnt a lot doing so. Before we get started, please do click the subscribe button down below. You'll hear of all future videos I'll put out, and also the next 2 videos in this series. So all my parts were cut off camera, as I've shown this in a number of times already in previous videos. I used the same website to help me mark out the best way to cut down my boards, and the links are in the description below. Here I am just cutting all my boards to the exact sizes needed. The miter saw station really makes this a breeze to complete. Using my 18 gauge nailer, I now emplace the leg parts on the cabinet. Doing this gives extra strength and also supports the lower shelf. My glue, I've just found out, has gone off during the heatwave we have had in the UK. I am trying my best to get as much usable glue out of the bottle as possible. To attach the parts to the cabinet, I use my long sash clamps to pull everything together so I can drill and get some screws in place. When I make this sort of furniture, I tend to use cheap drywall screws. They are great for MDF in my opinion. Just make sure you drill a suitable pilot hole so it doesn't stress out the wood too much. For the best pictures, I am doing this setup a tad wrong and it's awkward, but I persist for all of you like the true hero I am. You're all welcome. Now the main parts of the cabinets are in place. I am laying out for the drawer partitions. Laying out the position like this allows me to see where best to drill my pilot holes. As you can see, I've got tear outs in the rear of the board. I use my drill bit with the attached countersink to clean this up. Doing this allows a good connection between both boards when screwed together. Holding the partitions in place, I am able to screw it together. I need this cabinet to be square, so I transfer the measurements on the top to the underside drawer piece. Again, this gets screwed into place. Add the shelves, I grabbed some offcuts of MDF I have lying about, using the miter saw to cut them to the same length to hold the shelf to the correct height I want it. I then use the same 4 pieces to recut to add the additional shelves. The cabinet structure is all done, and I now move on to the face framing. I am using 2x2 material or 52mm square stock. I use the table saw using a piece of MDF to get the correct thickness I need. This face frame is approximately 36mm in width. I do this to take into account the thicker part of the lower legs, and to give the sides a thicker look. I continue cutting the wood to size and then gluing and fixing in place with an 18 gauge brad nails. Using real wood on the front of MDF shelving, or any other shelving for that matter, gives the shelf extra strength and helps stop bowing when weight is added. This is how I do all my shelves, and I've not had any problems with the weight so far. When it comes to the partitions for the drawers, I try and get in as centralised as possible to the MDF. To help me do this, I use my combination square. I am now moving on to the crates, which will be stored on the shelves. I am making 2 different size crates. The lower shelf will have 3 small size ones for big bulky toys, and the other 2 shelves will have a wider, bigger crate for train track and other small toys. Okay, I have 2 boys, so lots and lots of cars. I am using my new toy to do this, my bandsaw. It's the Charmwood W730 model and is able to cut a maximum of 9 inches, which will come in useful when I come to resaw up logs for turning. Resawing the 2x2 material was a breeze on this and made light work of it. I set up a quick and simple jig to help me glue and nail the crates together. This is similar to the one I made for my wedding cake box, but just a tad bigger. When I cut all the bits for this, I was left with small slivers of wood. I managed to use these for the bottoms of the crates, and this worked out great. With all the crates finished and on the cabinets, I move on to the drawers. I am using the same walnuts I have used in previous videos, and after experimenting on how to make them, I settle for the lap joint. So using the mitre sled on my table saw, I nibble away at both ends of the front and back pieces to allow the side pieces to sit cleanly within them. Once I've done this, I make a groove to take the bottom, which is a 5mm ply. I wanted these drawers off the bottom of the cabinet and as less friction as possible. I thought up a few designs, but I settled for this. The idea is simple. I take a piece of walnut, square stock, and cut an L shape into them. When the L-shaped walnut is then fitted into place, the lower of the drawer will glide along this. The whole cabinet gets filled with 2-part filler and once dry gets a good sanding. Join me next week for part 2. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe so you are the first to see my new release videos. Thanks for watching, until next time.